we're focusing on reducing our energy cost per unit. This is one of my favorite objections. It comes up from time to time. Think about this. First of all, and you have to say this with respect, humility, and sincerity, okay? You don't want to be coming across as being flip or arrogant. And you also want to ask this first question with a dropping intonation at the end. You want to say, how much better do you feel knowing that all the energy you're now wasting costs a bit less per unit? When you say it like that and you follow it with silence, it's a very powerful statement. Do you feel any better knowing that all the energy you're now wasting doesn't cost you quite as much per unit? It's silly, right? We really stop to think about it. It's ridiculous. Number 2, which do you think offers the possibility of the greatest percentage swing in your energy expenses? Reducing the cost per unit of energy used, which is what you're focused on now. Reducing the number of energy units used, which is what I want you to focus on. Or maybe modifying when those energy units are used, which if I'm giving you a demand response profile project, maybe that's what we're talking about. But I think if you take a look at real numbers, you'd find out that maybe they could make the energy expenses move by 5 or 10% max by intelligently buying utilities. But when they talk about reducing the number of energy units used, I've seen buildings reduce their energy spend by more than 50%. And when you talk about modifying when those energy units are used through demand response and load shedding and things like that, and load shifting, I've seen the utility bills move in profound ways, especially when you consider in certain utility territories, at least here in the United States, you might have an off-peak rate that's 10 cents a kilowatt hour, and the on-peak critical peak pricing rate is $1.35 a kilowatt hour. So if you just shift some of the load from the middle of the hot summer Tuesday to the evening when the power is more reasonably priced, or maybe even using battery storage or something else to do that same shift, you have profound impacts on the utility bills. Much more profound than you can get by just reducing the cost per unit of energy used. Number 3, have you considered all the non-utility cost financial and non-financial benefits that you're missing because you haven't addressed your actual energy consuming systems because you're happy with just reducing the cost per kilowatt hour or per therm? Think of it. Let's say you have a warehouse that has inefficient lighting. It's also dark lighting. It's dim. It's too dim for the jobs to be done underneath of it. You think, well, I don't want to put a lighting retrofit in. I think I'll just stay with the bad lighting, but I can reduce my energy costs by negotiating hard with my power company or through a broker. Okay, great. So you don't change the lighting. How much money are you losing every day from missed shipments? All that wasted packaging and posting and restocking, or postage and restocking labor. How much client goodwill are you frittering away because they don't have any faith in your shipping department anymore because you're shipping the stuff that's shipping them the wrong stuff? And how much inconvenience are you causing your accounting department, much less your customers, by shipping the wrong stuff? Because frankly, people can't see. So when you really juxtapose the powerful stuff like the non-utility cost financial and non-financial benefits with the silly stuff like the utility cost benefits, and then take it even down to a sillier degree where the only thing you're moving is just the price per unit of what you're wasting, you realize that you're leaving a lot of benefits on the table, and it's causing harm to your business. Number 4, by the way, what happens when the unit cost pendulum swings the other way? Ouch. Or you miscalculate an energy trade, or your broker miscalculates the direction of energy costs and they put the wrong options in place. 5, how quickly do utility price shocks arrive, and could you reduce your consumption quickly enough in reaction to a severe pricing swing to mitigate its bad impact on your financials? You can't just snap your fingers and get a chiller replacement done or a lighting replacement done or put in a control system. Yet those are the kinds of things you might have to do if all of a sudden you lose control over the price per unit and you got to do something else to keep your utility bills under control. And number 6, what about your Energy Star score and any beneficial impact an Energy Star label could have on your building's competitiveness, profitability, and value? Energy Star, the score is based on source kBTU per square foot per year. Source, not site, meaning where the energy is generated, what impact that has on emissions profile. Now, if you're just buying your electricity very inexpensively, that has absolutely no impact on your score. Whereas if you focus on how much energy your building is using, that makes all the difference in the world. And if you don't have that Energy Star label, you could be shortchanging yourself some substantial benefits in terms of competitiveness, profitability, and value, especially in income property, where it's been proven with no less than 6 studies over the last dozen years or so that buildings that have an Energy Star label in North America, actually I guess in the United States the studies were focused on, they have higher rent per square foot, higher occupancy, and higher sales price per square foot. So while you're dilly-dallying around about the price of the electrons you buy, you're squandering the potential to get building competitiveness, profitability, and value. And finally, number 7, how about your overall sustainability profile, which frankly is likely to become more important as public sentiment regarding climate change tends to converge over the next 10 or 20 years. The fact of the matter is, whether you believe in global warming or not, and whether or not you believe that global warming is the result of man-made events, at some point someone's going to say, you know what, the energy metroplex is causing a lot of pollution, and they're going to want you to be energy efficient. And if nothing else, than to avoid acidification of our oceans and other wastes, smog on the skyline and other things that are deleterious impacts of energy use, irresponsible energy use. So you may be dilly-dallying around, buying your electrons less expensively, but at some point someone's going to call you to task for not having a more sustainable profile.